to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday morning. It is the March 6th, 2025. I'm Joe Callahan, and at the coffee table
March
normally...
6th and be positive.
That's right. Normally on Thursdays we have Bob Lauder here, but Bob can't make it this week. Sorry about that. So we'll check in with Bob hopefully next week. We'll see about that. But that was Dave Richards you just heard. Hi, Dave.
Yes. Well, did you say on Tuesday, March 4th, and be positive?
Did I say that?
No.
Not once.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm not a Star Wars
We could
guy,
say March
so.
6th and be positive.
We can. We're expecting Sue Tester McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call and Times to be here, but joining us at the table as well.
One of the most
morning,
positive guys I know.
Woonsocket Mayor Christopher Beauchamp. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And we'll get to Sue's message in the next half hour.
Sure.
Not in a half hour, next segment. But I want to get to Chris right off the bat. Dispel this rumor for me. Maybe it's true though. From what I hear, are you involved in some kind of dance competition?
I am.
It's not a rumor.
It's not a rumor.
All right.
It's,
Tell us about this.
So Rhode Island Mentor, which is a mentorship program, they have a fundraiser every year where they have certain people they ask to dance with the stars, meaning that we go on April 11th at Rhodes on the Patuxent, and there's about 8 or 9 of us. I've been taking dance lessons. I went last night from 8 to 9 o'clock. 10 weeks of dance lessons. I'm doing the foxtrot to a Journey song.
Which one?
You had to ask me that.
A slower one?
Yeah, a slower one.
Open arms?
No.
Faithfully?
It's not important, Joe.
Faithfully.
It is to me.
It is.
Faithfully.
I'm not a Journey guy, but
What's important here is that I wouldn't take foxtrot from the 1930s and 40s and put it with Journey.
well
in
it's
my brain
interesting
naturally.
how that came about
is.
because the girl that is my partner from the Dance Feeling Studio, what kind of music you like? So I said, I'm old. I like old stuff like the Doobie Brothers, the Who.
What are
She
the
says,
70s? Okay.
who are they?
Oh,
I had no idea.
That's the best.
I said, you pick a song.
But it's a classic step that you can learn.
Yeah.
That's important. A lot of the stuff that you and I were dancing when we were kids was free form. You really
what
can't
you
dance
want.
it with somebody else
So
together.
I'm excited about it. I'm going to raise $2,500 is my goal. I'm about halfway there. Tickets are $100 a piece. It's steep, but I mean, it's for a great cause. And I'm going to be mentoring somebody in the future.
So is it like Dancing with the Stars? Okay, all 8 of you dance, and then, okay, you're, not you personally, but someone has to leave. Now we're down to 7.
Yeah, it's
something like that?
It's somewhat of a competition, but I'm in it for the fundraising aspect, not the competition.
Sure. Well, don't worry about that because you'd be surprised if you have a good partner.
Oh, she's awesome.
It'll just flow. You'll be nervous as heck. You'll be miserable while you're doing it, and then when you're done, you'll be happy.
And I only broke one
Just
toe on her
focus on
foot
the
so
happiness.
far. So
Just
things
one?
are good.
Okay, good. Now, do you have to wear a tuxedo or a suit or something like that?
They recommend that you kind of don't because you're moving.
Oh,
right?
yeah, of course. That's
And
why it's
so
be
I'm
more difficult in
I'm
a
going
suit.
to wear a bow tie, actually, and
All right.
a nice shirt and pair of pants. And
You're going to love this, Mac. I've been a mentor, and it's very, very, very rewarding.
Yeah.
At first, you say to yourself, "Oh, gee whiz, I'm going to feel so old because the young people don't quite, you don't mesh." But you do mesh afterwards if you make the effort, and I know you will.
No, I'm excited about it because, like I said, I had coached the basketball team for 12 years, the freshman basketball team that just won the state championship, by the way.
Yeah,
They were in City Hall
congratulations.
last week, and we gave them accommodations. But anyway, kids like that, I can very easily get acquainted with.
Just remember, it's harder for them than it is for you to adjust.
Yeah.
Because you remember what it was like to be young, and they don't have any idea what it's like to be older. So
I can show them.
yeah, it's harder on them than it is for you. Hey, guess who just walked in?
That would be Sue Tester McKenzie.
Good morning, Sue.
Good morning.
Hi, Sue. Now, the all-important question now, Chris, is how'd your wife, react to all of this?
So she's a much better dancer than I am. So
Yeah.
my goal was to have her go with a partner from dance studio for 4 or 5 weeks, and then my wife come in but unfortunately she broke her toe and she has a boot on, so she's not dancing. She could probably dance better than me with the boot on. Than I can. So she's out, and
so she'll just be in the audience.
She'll be in the audience. I got 2 tables of family and friends coming, so it should be fun.
So April 11th at the
April
roads.
11th, Roads on the Patuxent.
Patuxent.
I believe it starts at 5
Who
p.m.
are
to
the
9.
other stars? Just other mayors?
Couple, there is ex-mayor, Mayor Zai from Newport, but the CEO of Landmark, Mike Souza's dancing.
Okay.
So he'll be
Not
in it.
bad.
and
There's a little
then-
competition between the
yeah,
two of you.
Yeah, we'll be 8th and 9th, I think. We'll flip a coin who comes in last.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nah, I'm excited about it. It's been fun, and I got 4 more lessons, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, have a good time with it. I'm sure you'll do fine. Sue, how you doing today? Nice to see you here.
Wonderful.
Okay, good.
Stopped raining. I mean, Thursdays tend to rain or snow.
That was pouring last night.
It was crazy
Crazy
pouring.
rain last
And the
night.
Fridays have been pretty good so far this year. I hope
It's
it
been
continues
it's
through
been
the
the
summertime.
Thursdays of rain.
Rain was very much needed for our reservoir.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, of
always
course.
needed.
Yeah, you get the reports all the time from Steve, don't you? That thing's still down low, isn't
Still
it?
down 5-6 feet
Wow.
from where
Yeah.
it should be at this time of year.
Wow.
That's right,
Which is
because
tremendous.
being spring, it's always supposed to be the highest of the year.
Sure.
Right.
All right, I wanted to give you the opportunity, Mayor. If you wanted to say anything about this, if you don't, that's fine. It's just it's been in the news the last couple of days about the former Woonsocket mayoral candidate Keith Harrison. He's been arraigned on charges of forging nomination papers. Anything you want to add to this?
I mean, I was contemplating calling my other opponent, John Ward, see if we could get our primary money back, because we wouldn't have had a primary. Mr. Harrison didn't run, but
Wow.
I'm kidding, obviously.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I ran my campaign. He ran his way he thought it should be, and let the chips fall where they may.
It's odd that he was arraigned, but he didn't. I wish Bob was here. But he didn't enter a plea.
I think they got him.
plea of
You don't
nothing.
have to.
Well, I thought you had to
The
say
process will
something.
continue.
It was, yeah.
No, you could do guilty, not guilty, or present,
I guess that's what he did, and then he was released on personal recognizance.
because that's just the arraignment. That's not a
Right.
trial.
Oh, I know.
And that all stemmed, obviously, from my primary, but my solicitor, Alan Fung, or part of the solicitor's team, was the one that kind of pushed that, because we
Yeah.
didn't think it was
Well,
legal.
during
and-
the during the election campaign, we heard all about this here. Of course, it was unfounded rumors at the time.
Yeah.
We didn't have the facts, and we found that candidate, Mr. Harrison, elusive to try to get any facts from during that time. So we just didn't put it on the air, because you have to be careful what you say on the air. You have to really have your ducks in a row.
And to be a candidate for anything, you got to get out there and do what you have to do, right?
Right.
So the 100 signatures, from what I've been told, when he ran prior for whatever he ran for, I think city council or something, he just duplicated those slips from years ago,
Oh, wow.
and then that's how they fought.
Well, that's
a
a big
couple of
bozo.
people
No,
on
no,
there that
one
weren't
is,
Weren't
yeah.
alive anymore.
weren't alive.
Wow. Okay. So he was arraigned yesterday. I don't know if his arraignment was on any of the gun charges that he was caught with as well. I don't know if it's just on the
Yeah, well,
forgery
that was
charges.
beside the fact. When they went to get him, they found.
I think that's more
Yeah.
important than the forgery.
Yeah, I do too. There was some other things that the police had found that
High
were a
capacity magazines.
little bit disturbing, I think.
Yeah.
Sheriff vest and some other things.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
but is that illegal?
Well,
It's probably not illegal, I mean, to have it, but why would you have it?
He had that and a
Are you-
baton
are
in
you
his
trying to
in his trunk
pretend
too.
you're something you're not? Maybe,
That's-
I don't know.
I don't
that's
know.
one of those rules, Joe. You can own a radio station, but you can't turn it on without the license. You can own all the equipment,
right.
but if you don't have the license, you can own it. It's legal, but you can't turn it on.
But
you can't
I know.
use it.
But-
and what we're talking about
I got
here.
another butt here.
You're gonna get in. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
You can, and because this happened when I was a kid. You can go to a store like a Walmart or a Kohl's, and you can buy a T-shirt that says lifeguard. It can be
You
red
can do it now.
and wear it in white letters, and you can wear it to a pool, and that's perfectly fine. Yet you're not. You might not be certified as a lifeguard.
Right.
But that's perfectly fine to do. And I don't know why my parents bought me this shirt. I never wanted to be a lifeguard. I never was a lifeguard. I wouldn't, and I never wore it at a pool or at a beach, thinking I might be, hey, we need your help. Well, I don't want to explain
Well,
how
it's
I'm
like
not a
selling-
lifeguard, but
it's
it's
like
okay to do it.
But it's like selling a red bathing suit, red swimming trunks, red
Right.
all of that, that's typically what
You're
they
not
wear.
using it except
But-
to cover your body.
Right.
Right.
But I see what you're saying.
But
I
if
kind
you
of
use
agree
it to
with what
climb
you're
up into
saying.
the chair,
With everything else, the sheriff, you can own, people buy this memorabilia. You can
Well,
have
sure.
a Tom Brady helmet and shirt. That doesn't mean you're going to go
Be a
play
football player.
football.
Okay.
So, but you can own it. The
What about-
question would be why.
Chris,
in
what
that
about the
case.
baton? You said he was caught with that in the trunk too. Is that something that's legal for someone to purchase and have on their person?
I think it's probably legal to have all that, but when you put it all
Okay.
together and now you look like you're impersonating somebody you're not, especially
Right.
law
There you
enforcement,
go.
I
There
think
you
that's
Exactly.
where the
Well, he did say
that's when
The
you use
difficulty
it. That's
comes
if
in.
you're using it.
he said he does work security at night and he has that for protection.
oh, that's possible.
So okay, the other funny part was it's all alleged, of course, is the gun, the pistol in his lunchbox, which I think is
Yeah, it
very,
wasn't.
very funny.
Yeah, well, it's obviously very dangerous too because
Yes, it
was
is.
in an open car where
That was
somebody
running.
could get at it.
The car was running,
From what I
too.
read in the
So-
paper.
All right, okay, moving on to other things. Can you give us an update, Mayor, on Cass Park? We always like to get an update of what's
I
going
think
on over there.
I think they're starting on work on Cass Park again on Monday. They took about a 2-3 week hiatus because of the
The
weather.
ground was frozen.
Okay.
The ground was definitely frozen, and you're not being productive when there's 3 feet of frost on the ground. I don't care what you're trying to do. But they do have the Musco lights up for the new field. They're already up, and
What are
you can
those?
see them. The lights for the running track.
Oh, okay.
So the big lights that are up 150 feet in the air, which I was surprised those are already up because the field is not even begun yet
Completed?
to start. They are doing the drainage.
But they're using the same lights for the football field, right?
Yes.
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 So that's your limit. Joe,
Yes.
Friday night lights.
Yes.
Okay.
See, he's
And
a
they got-
sports guy. Once I say
They
that,
got
he
all the
gets
drainage.
excited.
They're working on the drainage on the field. All the drainage in the parking lot is done. So they're going to tie that into the parking lot. So they're moving quickly, and we're going to be ready in September.
I'm happy about that.
Concession stand
Well,
is
They have to be. There's not much left to Barry Field's
the
infrastructure.
concession stand has to be built because you need the bathrooms to accommodate the fans that come to the.
Right.
You can't open it without that. So that's being built as we speak too. So things are moving rapidly.
All right. Very good. Dave, any questions right off the top of your head for the mayor before we have to take our first break?
Well, yeah, Mayor, the last city council meeting seemed to be an awful lot of opinion going on, and including those that you offered as well. Now it's been a while. It's been a few weeks. Actually, it's been a couple of months that things have been going with the present council and with you in office as the elected mayor. Can you give us like the view from 10,000 feet on how you see things going in the city legislatively and administratively?
So first off, the council and I have been very open and we communicate daily with some people. So all 7 of them have been to my office. We've talked several times about different things that is on their agenda, and some of them most of them I agree with. Some of them we have a difference of opinion. Some of the homeless
That's natural.
issues, which is fine. But the key point is that they're all welcome to come in and we're all communicating, because as a team, and I include them as my team along with all my directors, we are getting things done collaboratively, right? And not my way or the highway or somebody else, one council person, this is the way it's going to be. I've talked to the council president, Dan Gendron, almost every day, and that's the way it should be. And I always thought that's the way it should be, no matter who's the mayor, because those 2 branches of government got to cooperate with each other to get things done. So I'm very happy that that's working that well, and I see it continuing that way. So we have our challenges like anywhere else, but we got some good things coming down the pike.
Very nice.
All right,
By
we're
the
good.
way, can I interject for just a moment here about Monday night's meeting? Because we had some discussions on Tuesday. Very, very difficult. We got an awful lot of complaints that the reception was not good out of Harris Hall. It wasn't just us, it was YouTube and well. And the word from Mike O'Connell, IT guru in the city, is that it was Cox's issue, and they got it fixed now. But it was a problem. They just couldn't get a signal out of the room, and so it wasn't us, and it wasn't YouTube. It was just one of those technical things. Technology is a fickle ally sometimes.
Correct.
All right, we're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. Comments and questions, especially for the mayor, can be called in at 766-1240.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up gołąbki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with RE/MAX Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
ON Radio.
It's Coffee In on ON. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards. Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp is here, and Sue Tessier McKenzie and from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times. And Sue, time for first message from the newspaper, please.
Good morning, everybody. As I pointed out last week, we have eliminated the Monday edition of the paper. Somebody called in and asked
I
if
heard
that...
it first right here. Thank you.
If somebody called and asked if that was going to be, if that means we're going to, change the price of the paper. No, we are not. We've done that, like many other businesses, as a means of avoiding an increase. So we did eliminate Monday. Monday is not the best read section. For those that get delivery, that's one thing, but for those that go pick it up, that's the least picked up day. Having said that, our office is always open if you're missing something, missing a back edition of the paper. When I say always open, you can call my cell phone, 487-4136, and I can meet you there if Christina is off that particular day. And just call me anytime. Call me whatever you need, 487-4136.
Can I ask you a question about the paper? And Sue, you may know the answer, you may not. So Monday there was no paper.
Right.
Tuesday's paper arrived. It was all one piece. You know how you got the Call in the Times, you got your first section, you get your sports in a separate section.
Yeah.
Tuesday's paper was all one. Okay?
Huh.
And then I said, well, maybe they switched to this.
They must have dropped the scissors on the floor to cut them into two pieces.
Well, no, because it ended with the news, and then it was right in the fold.
Joe, I'm having fun with you.
So, but then we had Wednesdays and Thursdays, and now we're back to 2 sections. So I didn't know if they were planning on staying with one or staying with 2.
No, I don't know that.
Okay.
I do not know the answer. I'm curious if, there was a misproduction,
Yeah.
upon printing, because basically the papers work better as a 2-section, and it's not just for news purposes. It's the layout, it's the printing, it's all of that makes it 2 sections better. If it was 1 section, it might be easier, but
Right. Okay.
seems to me that's not the proper way to do it.
Okay, I just wanted to check with you, Mayor. If I already didn't have plans, I would say that you and I should make plans together, and for March 20th through the 22nd, you need to take time off work because the first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is going to be in Providence.
I am going. I'm going
Oh,
to.
good for you.
I believe we're going to the Big East tournament next week
Oh,
for 2
Madison
days.
Square Garden?
Which
Wow.
I've done for the last 5 years.
Good for you.
3 games one day, 4 games another. So it's a long day of basketball, but I love it. So yes.
Same thing with the tournament in Providence. Is an incredibly long day.
Yep.
When the first game's at noon.
Yep.
And the last game starts at 10 o'clock at
Like
night.
9:30 or something. Yeah.
If you're lucky.
I'm all for it.
All right, that's coming up to.
Do you have any favorites, Mayor?
In the NCAA, I am a North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I don't even know if they're going to make the tournament. They're on the first 4 out, meaning they're one of the last 4 teams not included. But if they beat Duke on Saturday, they'll definitely be in. That's a tall task.
All right. Well, Bryant University
Yes.
is going to make the tournament
Can
this
you
year.
imagine that?
Yes.
I
forgot
think the
about
only one I think from Rhode Island is
Definitely.
going is Bryant.
And last Saturday,
they won.
Kevin and Pat
Yeah.
on the Cheap Seat Sports program had Tristan Hobbs, their he's the assistant athletic director now. He used
Yeah.
to be just the announcer when he was working for us.
He's moved up.
Yeah, he has.
And Bryant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bryant. Yeah, and he was saying some very exciting things about their program, and I think everybody can get behind them.
Yeah, I've been to 2 games this year, Bryant. I went to about a dozen last year. They got a great atmosphere there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a much smaller venue than PC and URI, but hey, they're
Well,
playing
it's
well.
Yeah.
The guys in the cheap seats, Chris, keep pushing. They want like a beanpot tournament for basketball in Rhode Island. PC, Bryant, URI, Brown,
Yeah,
and they don't know why this cannot be put together.
should be.
I think that would be very well attended.
Part of the problem is the
Money.
scheduling and the money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And now the NIL with the players is
that's-
out of control.
Yeah. All right. Enough about basketball. Back in Woonsocket. There was a lot of discussion at the last city council meeting because we have this new subcommittee focusing on the homeless
Yeah.
in the city. What's the latest on that?
So, a couple of things. Money drives everything. Obviously, the homeless situation is something that's not going away very quickly. We are doing things that we haven't done in years past. We have 3 options right now. We have the Dignity Bus, Social Street Shelter, Harvest Community Church Shelter for Men. Unfortunately, all of those things are coming. The Dignity Bus will still be available. The other 2 options are ending at the end of April. So, funding for those things. So, my
That's why
goal.
you can't run them year round.
Yeah, my goal is to have a place somewhere year round because obviously getting people out of inclement weather, whether it's cold, hot, rain, snow, whatever, and get them to a place where they can go to the bathroom, take a shower, maybe have a meal all year is my goal. And there's 3 options, I believe. The city owns 3 buildings, right? We own 330 Social Street, which was the old Aaron's, 181 Cumberland Street, which was the Viola Mental Health Clinic on Cumberland Hill Road, and then All Saints. I believe, after looking at all those options and going to the shelter in Pawtucket, I believe 330 Social Street would be the best option right now because it's set up as 1 floor, pretty wide open. They do have bathrooms. We'd have to modify those a little bit with showers. And it's a building that, is sitting somewhere between Thunder Miss, Community Care Alliance in that area. So people don't have to walk far to get other services that they may need. So I am leaning towards that. Obviously, the council has the final say.
Where are they leaning?
Some of the people think 3:30. I think the subcommittee has some different ideas, and I'm going to talk to the Vice President, Denise Sierra. And listen, she put some hard work together with that subcommittee report. They have a meeting on Monday that I'm going to attend to. The problem is money. And if we're going to do all the other services or try to wraparound services like housing, workforce, we do not have the money in the general fund to do any of that. So there's got to be other partners involved. And where do they get their money? Community Care Alliance or some of these other nonprofits. It's through grants, right? So I think we're in a much better place. And as Councilman Dubois said at the meeting Monday night, we're going to tackle the encampments. But we all know
How?
reality is not everybody's going to go to the options that we have right now.
Well, it's true.
But as the mayor and as administration, we have the ability to go to the encampments with plenty of warning, plenty of time for them to gather their belongings and say, these are the three options we have. You cannot stay here any longer.
Right.
And that's what we're going to do.
Choose an option. And some of them don't care for the rules. You got to have rules whenever you set something
course.
up. So they don't care for the rules, so they'd rather choose none of the above, but that won't be an option for them, you say.
It won't be. And if they choose not to go to any of the three options, that's on them. And again, I've said this from the start. I want to concentrate on people that have Woonsocket ties, live in Woonsocket, have family here, of homeless people, right? And there's a lot of people that have ties here. But there are also a lot of people that come here because they hear that the services are here and they don't have anywhere to stay, so they stay with the unhoused in Woonsocket.
Increasing our homeless
So
population.
Under the Bridges is a priority for me. Privilege Street, next to River Falls, Harris Pond Falls. We're going there next week to bring them maybe a dozen barrels. We're going to let them bring them into the woods. They're going to clean up, bring them out to the street. So we're starting the cleanups again. And this is going to be the emphasis to say to the people that are at these certain locations, we're going to clean up. You don't want to live in this filth, but this isn't a permanent spot. We have these options. You can choose to go to one of these three options, or, there's Crossroads in Providence. There's other places too. So that's the approach.
So the opinionated few that say, well, this is a simple problem, you disagree.
It's very much not a simple problem. And I really appreciate everybody pitching in, from the faith community to the subcommittee to the homeless task force committee that Councilwoman Valerie Gonzalez started a year and a half ago, because everybody contributing makes it an easier lift for everybody. So I'm encouraged by that, but it's not something that's going to go away this year, next year. It's going to take time.
When you visited Pawtucket and maybe some other communities, do the other communities have the same amount of encampments that Woonsocket has, or are we leading the state in that?
I can't answer that with certainty, Joe. I think Pawtucket had some challenges up near 95, near the old Apex, right? That was state land. They cleared them out of there. So I'm concentrating on visible encampments that people see every day. And to Councilman Dubois' point, we want to kind of do that now while they're visible, because in a few months,
When the
the
foliage
foliage and
comes out.
and that's what it is. You don't know they're there until wintertime comes. So
Like
you know they're there,
Privilege
but
Street, you don't know it's there
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
the summer
Yeah.
because of the trees.
so it's a challenge. But I think we got a good game plan going. I don't know if everybody's going to be on board, all 7 council people, but we're going to hash out the possibilities and the options and go from there, because All Saints is a very marketable piece of real estate, right?
Certainly is.
Sure.
I think 181 is in that same boat, right? It could be very marketable to sell. 330 Social could be, but I think it fits to our need, because the city of Woonsocket, if we sell all 3 of those parcels, where do we start with a homeless shelter?
Right.
We have a piece of property we own already, so we might as well take advantage of that.
Joe, you got to go to break, right?
Yes. You wanna
When
hang
we
on to
come
that
back, can I
question?
ask the mayor about revaluation?
Yep, and we also got a note from the audience to get to when we come back. But Sue, time for a second message, please, from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times.
Okay, so earlier I said the office is always open. We are always available, not necessarily open.
Well, overnight you do lock the door, right?
Well, yeah, no, I just got word, one of our employees had her car vandalized yesterday. So she obviously can't drive it without a back window. The office is closed today and tomorrow, I'm guessing. But I am always reachable. Call me on my cell phone. You need a back issue of the paper. You can call me at 487-4136. Just don't ask me for Monday this week. Also, if you need to have an obituary, a memoriam, or legal, that's Christina. She can be reached at 767-8503. If you have difficulty with that number, resort back to me, 487-4136.
All right, Sue, more coming up. Right now, time for the forecast being brought to you by Unbound.org. Today, cloudy skies with a slight chance of scattered showers throughout the day. High temperature will be near 56. South wind 7 to 9 miles per hour. Tonight, the National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory that starts at 7 p.m. and lasts until Friday at 7 p.m. It'll be cloudy tonight, gradual clearing, low temperature around 28, but windy, west wind 11 to 20 miles per hour, wind gusts as high as 38 miles per hour. Friday's weather, sunny and a high near 42. Breezy with a west wind 21 to 24 miles per hour, wind gusts as high as 44 miles per hour. Friday night, partly cloudy, low around 30. Saturday, mostly sunny, high near 37, continued windy. Sunday, sunny, high near 42, continued windy. Monday, mostly sunny, high near 50. Tuesday, mostly sunny, high near 58. Wednesday, partly sunny, high near 62. Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with cloudy skies, we have 50 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own at unbound.org.
Chan's Egg Roll and Jazz. Oh, yeah. And I've got bad news for you. The Winehouse Project with Lisa Kay you've been hearing about, that's tomorrow night at Chan's, sold out. Can't give you a ticket. Four Seasons Bank Room is just so big, folks, and they're just so popular. So may I interest you in Uptown Ruler music on Saturday night at 8 o'clock at Chan's. It brings you the funky, soulful New Orleans beat of the Meters, Neville Brothers, and Dr. John. 15 in advance, 20 at the door. Once again, Chan's 267 Main Street in Woonsocket, Saturday night at 8 o'clock. It's the wonderful, funky soul sounds of Uptown Blues. And tomorrow night's show is sold out at Chan's, and they got great food, too.
By carefully planning the placement of different flooring materials, you can create a visually appealing and cohesive design. The experts at PT Floor Covering say that whether you are combining hardwood with tile, carpet with laminate, or any other combination, there are certain techniques and considerations that can ensure a flawless transition. Check with PT Floor Covering about these techniques. They can answer all your questions and guide you in the right direction. PT Floor Covering, 91 North Main Street, Woonsocket. Visit ptfloors.com.
Dollar Saver Guy with this week's ON Radio Dollar Saver Half Price Deal of the Week. We're off to Positive Vibes Nutrition in Woonsocket, where they have healthy shakes, energizing teas, and a whole lot more. $40 certificate good at Positive Vibes. Grab it for half price, $20. These certificates go on sale tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. online at onradiodollarsaver.com. That's onradiodollarsaver.com.
This segment of the Coffee and Program is sponsored by Attorney Bob Lauder. When you need a skilled attorney who will fight for your rights, look no further than Attorney Bob Lauder of Woonsocket. If your legal questions revolve around estates or trusts, then talk to Bob. If you're contemplating a divorce, then talk to Bob. Attorney Bob Lauder has a calming demeanor, which is very helpful in legal matters. And Bob has more than 40 years' experience practicing law. Call Attorney Bob Lauder today at 401-762-4550, 762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. It's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, Sue Tessier-McKenzie, and Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp. And Mayor, we got a note called in, 766-1240. And I was going to ask you this because you were here last month and you made the great announcement that a supermarket is coming to Sears. Now you couldn't say who it was because not everything's been dotted and crossed and things like that. But it's a month later now. So can you announce today who the supermarket chain that is coming where the old Sears building was on Diamond Hill Road?
Unfortunately, I can't, but I believe by next week or the next time I come here, we will be able to I just want to make certain that, the buyer of the plaza has signed a lease with the tenant. I just want to make sure everything is done. We have a meeting with them tomorrow, the buyer of the plaza, to discuss some other options up there. I think there's a possible car wash coming up there, which is about a $3.5 million investment, which is good tax revenue.
Plus ongoing income for water, too.
Yep. And so they got those plans in front of us now, and I'm telling you, I'm very happy with the new developers and their ambition to make that plaza a lively place again. They've talked to the department store at the end. I can't think of it off now.
Savers?
Savers. And they're taking more space towards where the
McCarthy's was.
where McCarthy's was.
Yeah.
That's good. So they're expanding because they need it. They've cleaned up the back of the plaza where Savers had, their distribution coming in and out.
Right.
It's all clean back there. So everybody's working well. And these developers, I've seen other projects they've done. I think I mentioned it last time. They did the old Inn and Hope on Post Road in Warwick, right before Airport Road. It's now a U-Haul, and they overhauled that whole place, and they're doing
Yeah,
a
like
great
the
job.
one in Cumberland.
Yeah. So I'm excited. This market does have a presence in Rhode Island, more on the convenience side store, some of their places. But shortly we'll give the name, and we'll have some press release when that happens.
We'll look forward to that. Okay, Dave, you had a question for the mayor?
During last night's, during Monday's city council meeting, Mayor, there was, I thought, some very, very wise words spoken regarding revaluation in the state that we're at right now. Reevaluation is not something that says, hey, the mayor doesn't wake up one day, let's have a revaluation.
Yeah.
No, it's something that's mandated by the state. You plan for it ahead of time. You select a company. They go and do their work. I understand this one's extensive, and there's some other key features to this revaluation that people are going to want to know because they're about to be told what their new values are, right?
Yes. And according to Tax Assessor John Paglarini, our interim tax assessor, he is the planning director also. By the way, we got a nice interview next week for a new tax assessor. So John will hopefully be doing one job soon. But yes, the rates, the valuations have gone up. According to John, I read an article, maybe 37% values in
Nearly
properties.
40, I think he said.
Yeah.
Nearly 40.
And that's good and bad, right? Some people equate, my valuation went up 25%, my taxes are going up 25%. That's not the case, right? So as the base goes up, assuming there's no change in the levy, the rate comes down to kind of offset each other, right? But if I was planning on selling my house this week, next month, 30% valuation up, that's good for me selling my house.
That's right, it is. Yeah.
So it's not, you got to look at both sides of it, right?
Even if it's 10 years from now, it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So it's going to be an interesting thing. We've talked about, the homestead, and maybe we're going to do some tweaking to the homestead possibly so we don't impact everybody with a big tax increase or a substantial tax increase. And listen, I'm very fortunate. I live in a single-family home, and I get a 25% homestead exemption. Maybe times are coming where we got to look at that to kind of balance that with the commercial rate to help the commercial get close to the residential so we can attract more business. And I know some people think that's going to hurt them, and yes, there's winners and there's losers, right? When taxes go up and some people's go down. But those are the things we got to look at in this budget season because there's no opera cushion to offset some revenue that we're not getting, right? So that's what we're looking at. And it's going to be some challenges, but I think we're going to get there. We're going to have a balanced budget, and there will be a tax increase, I believe. Hopefully I can keep it close to what we did last year, but it's inevitable with some of the lawsuits we're still dealing with. And after this year, all those lawsuits will be settled. We'll be paying out some money in future years, but at least our auditors will see that, you know what, we settled those things. And that's an important factor, too.
It's a long-term cure for something that didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So you've really got to do it. I'll ask you this. I heard that that mailings are going out with the information on what...
They went out
you're
yesterday.
You're going to get it in the mail, folks, if you own property here in Woonsocket, real property, and it's going to show you what your new valuation is.
Yep.
And we want to repeat to everybody that this does not mean your taxes are going up 40%.
And there's a number to call to appeal your new valuation, right? And you can do that.
I'm
And
wondering why people would do that. If all of a sudden, your property is worth 35% more,
Well, I think they
why
get
would you
nervous.
appeal that?
I think, but
Well-
I, if they don't know, and like
Yeah.
you just said, they're thinking that that's their taxes are going to go up.
Yeah.
So, the unfortunate, many people, they jump the gun.
Yeah.
And now they panic, and so at least I'll have a number to call, and to ease the panic.
I think there's most of that appealing process, there are some residential, but it's mostly commercial, right? And for instance, the Walnut Hill Plaza that just got sold.
Yeah.
Their valuation was $14 million by the city. They just bought it for 6.5. So
Yeah,
that
I
valuation
see.
was doubled what it probably should have been.
But the appeal process is outlined in the letter that they'll receive?
Yes, there's a number to call, and then they tell you what your appeal process is, when you can come in, make an appointment. I think John Pagliarini, if he comes on the show at some point in the very near future, could answer some questions that people have, because that's his realm, not mine.
Okay, we had a note that was called in 766-1240. This just goes back to when we talk about basketball.
Okay.
Caller says Bryant University, they'll probably be a 16 seed. I agree with that, which means they'll be about a 25-point underdog. Well, they don't play the North Carolinas and the Dukes
No.
of the college basketball
No.
world, so yeah, they will be kind of low on the seeding chart. But the point is, they make it in.
But
Yes.
everybody
That's the
has to
whole point.
start somewhere.
Well, that's right.
And you got to
never know.
rejoice in the success that they've gotten.
And there's always the major upsides between a 16 and a 1.
They just became a Division
I.
I school in many sports
2 years
probably
ago. Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago. So they've come a long way in a short period of time.
And if you ever compare it with PC, which isn't having its stellar year this year, but PC, how many years have they been to the dance?
Tournament?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the tournament. You see, and then you look at Bryant. How long have they been qualified to even enter?
Even make
And
it,
you, there's reasons to be very excited about Bryant. Really,
Sure.
the progress they've made so short a time.
Okay. Mayor, are you hearing anything about, and we had the closure of Christopher's Restaurant right there in Market Square.
Yeah.
Any interest in that building that you're hearing about?
There was, unfortunately, what I thought was getting pretty close fell through.
That's
I
bad.
did talk to the building owner that owns Christopher's building.
Yeah.
He's got some other people. He's hired a restaurant broker, if you will, to kind of
Shop it
put
around.
a broader shopping around, as you said. So
It's beautiful and it's new construction.
it is, and I got some people that I've called. They're going to get back to me that own restaurants in Cumberland area that possibly they might look at it.
Like another
So-
location
Yeah.
for them? Okay.
So we're talking to a couple of people, and we will get somebody in there hopefully very soon to get that back up and running.
Okay.
Let's get that municipal parking lot across the street. How many restaurants would kill for that?
Sure.
Right.
Seriously.
Free parking,
But
plenty
now,
of parking.
does the seating ability, because I know they have an upstairs, downstairs, but they, not downstairs, but the first level and second level. I've never seen them use the second level for a very long
I
time.
have.
I haven't
It's
for a
more
very
for
long
functions than anything
Well,
else.
my point. Okay, so let's go with that. The downstairs seating is somewhat limited. It's not a big restaurant, but that must affect people because it's also the type of restaurant that people do like to sit and linger over
Yeah.
a cocktail. So if you can only seat the table once, maybe twice, the revenue turnover makes it very difficult, I would think.
Well, the mayor has used the upstairs function room during your campaign, as a matter of fact, right?
But it's not touted as such. You don't see them advertise it or anything.
Well, they
So
don't
the point that I'm
advertise
trying to make is if you're not utilizing it on a daily, your downstairs tables, which are limited, you're unable. You got to make the constant turnover to bring in the revenue to pay everybody that still has to work.
So when it was
Here's my point.
vintage, before
They were
Christopher's,
upstairs.
my daughter and my future son-in-law, he was the chef there. The restaurant business is very difficult. You got to be totally involved, and you got to have a business plan that's sustainable, right? And when Christopher's was Christopher's, the Maria Petroff and her two sons ran that place, and they knew what they were doing. And I went there 4 days a week with my wife. We loved it. We had to make reservations almost every single
Absolutely.
time. Unfortunately, when the new people bought it, they had great ambition, but they didn't have a plan. And their plan we think we know what we're doing. When you are sitting from a 120-seat restaurant and where they were, they had a small sushi restaurant, I think at the Cape, it's like night and day.
Oh, sure.
And unfortunately, I'm not going to say they get in over their heads, but you gotta figure it out. Yeah, overwhelmed, and you gotta have that solid game plan, because if you don't, things can go south very quickly. And I think the rent there is probably $8,000-9,000 a month, so you're gonna have substantial business coming in quite frequently. And there were many nights that we were there when they owned it, that the upstairs was closed.
Almost, yes.
And it's a great bar up there, but
Yes,
you're
for
hiring
sure.
a bartender on both first floor and second floor, 2 bartenders, and there's nobody up there.
Right.
Well, early on, how many great memories did you have up there with the fireplace upstairs in the upper level? Remember that? That was so
I liked
romantic.
when it was vintage. They used to make that chicken. There's a chicken appetizer, and there's a name for it, and I forget what it was
So
called.
Brian is my son-in-law, and I'm telling you, he's a tremendous cook. He works on Martha's Vineyard at Farm Neck Golf Course. He runs that place, and that's where all the big shots go play golf, I guess.
Well, you have to ask him that. First of all, what it was called? It was the actual name of the chicken was the cut of the chicken. Is what I
Statler? Chicken?
Statler. That's the one.
yeah.
Oh my God, that was to die for.
All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. More coming your way. This portion of Coffee and has been brought to you by Attorney Bob Lauder. When you need a skilled
when they
attorney
go
who
off
will
the
fight for your rights, look no further than Attorney Bob Lauder of Woonsocket. If your legal questions revolve around estates or trusts, then talk to Bob. If you're contemplating a divorce, then talk to Bob. Attorney Bob Lauder has a calming demeanor, which is very helpful in legal matters. And Bob has more than 40 years' experience practicing law. Call Attorney Bob Lauder today at 401-762-4550, 762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank. Our community, your bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, and MLS number 465956.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hustle culture, the grind. Our world glorifies hyper-independence and teaches us that we're not supposed to ask for help, but we're all better with a support system behind us. I have learned that the hard way myself. Therapy can be such a great place to learn coping skills and life skills that can make it a little bit easier for you to navigate and get that support that you need. What I love about BetterHelp is it's fully online, and that makes therapy convenient and affordable, serving over 5 million people around the world across a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. You will find the support you need at BetterHelp, and you can even easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Bob and Sherry today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bob and Sherry.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
Welcome in to Coffee and. This is Joe Callahan here with Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp, Sue Tesser McKenzie, Dave Richards. I'm Joe Callahan. Another note was called in, 766-1240. This person says
Serious mayoral business, Joe?
Yes, Sirius is right. Bryan University has to win the America East tournament to qualify for the NCAA tournament. Well, that's probably an automatic bid if they win that tournament. They did just win the regular season.
Yeah.
Right.
They need to
Handily.
win the tournament, and that will be their only team from that
to get in.
conference.
All right, there we go. It is reading week at the elementary schools this week, Mayor. So you've been to a few elementary schools to read to the kids. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I went yesterday to Coleman School in Fairmount. Had a great time. I went from first grade, second grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, 2 fourth grades, and
Same
I had
book?
a blast. The kids were great.
Nah, it's got to be a different book.
Different book,
It
first
was,
and
it was,
fourth.
yeah, there's different books. We were reading rhyme books, and first grade rhymes, everything rhymes.
All right.
So I had a lot of fun. I was there for about 2.5 hours. The kids loved it. I loved it. I got down on the mat with them. They all took a picture with me, and I was telling you off air. Some second grader said, "Man, do you live in a White House?" I said, No, I live in a yellow house. I said, I don't live in a White House. So, the kids are funny. They are funny.
Now, do you? I know it's different books, but do you know ahead of time what book you're going to read, or does the teacher say this is one we want you to read?
Well, they have about 4 or 5 books, and who wants to read this? And I go by, unanimous. How many hands come up, right?
Okay.
So we had fun yesterday, and a couple of books I never heard of, and
new
a little girl said, this is fiction, right? And I said, you were right, because it had to do with dinosaurs coming back, and
Oh my
I was
God.
like, where are we going with this book?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, you're going to read this week?
Tomorrow at 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
Both here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I used to read when I had my limo
I would have done it
business.
earlier this week, but I was
you
out
were
of town. Just
When I
got
had
back.
the limo business, that's what they did. They picked business owners to
Yeah.
go to the schools, and I will never forget that the first grade, whatever it was, and with the C-Spot Run book.
Yeah.
And the teacher said to me, I still can't believe I did this. The teacher said, okay, so this is the book they're reading. Just take one student at a time. And when they get stuck on the word, go to the next one.
All right.
So I kept going to the next student instead of the next word. I wiped that class out in 5 minutes. I still had an hour to go, and I said, okay. I did something wrong. I'm like, right, let's try this again.
So basically, you said, "All right, you're a moron. I'm moving on."
No, it was like, okay, you're stuck. Next one.
Next kid.
Next kid instead of next word.
Oh, that's funny.
I never went back.
You weren't asked back? Wow. How about that? Oh, that's a great story.
They look at
Sue.
the schedule year to year, and they said, oh, we're not asking you.
We know what happened last year.
So I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. They've been
Well, must be doing it right, Dave.
was actually like 30 years ago when I did that.
Right, yeah.
And, of course, once I figured out the next meant word, we then took our time with the remainder of the
It's so much
class.
nicer now. Back when we
that's
first
funny.
started, you would have the book, and then there'd be illustrations in most all the children's
course,
books.
yeah.
And then you would have to hold it up for
Yeah.
everybody, and then get back to what you were doing over there. Now they have overhead projectors.
Right.
And it comes up on a
Smartboards.
screen,
Yeah,
so
back
you can
then
show
it was
everybody.
this. It was C-Spot
Yeah, you
Run,
had to read it
and
to
you
the
had to,
side.
whatever page you read, you then had to
Right.
show. And,
I was reading
or
from
hold
the
it. I was
side,
just
right?
going to
So they
say,
could
hold
see.
it like this and read at
cool.
the same time.
All right. I believe I read this. Mayor, are you looking to hire at City Hall?
We do. We do
Okay.
have openings. There's some openings in the public works, like laborers and stuff like that. There's a tax assessor opening, still finance director opening. We have a very, in my opinion, I read a resume of a candidate for the tax assessor that's coming in next week. A young guy that worked in Brookline, Mass. as an assistant tax assessor, and then he was in Boston as an assistant tax assessor. So that's promising. If hopefully we will talk to them next week, and that way it will eliminate Mr. Paglarini from doing both jobs, and I appreciate him doing that. So we've saved a little money because he's not getting both salaries, obviously. And that's part of the challenge, as we said many times, about the pay scale where we are in Woonsocket and what we can afford to pay. So it's a challenging hiring people and keeping people, whether it's police, fire. I do have a promotion ceremony for the police department on Friday. We got a new deputy chief because our deputy chief left to go to Sutton, Mass. And then there's people that are moving up in
And the
rank.
council approved the contract on Monday,
They
right?
did, and Deputy Chief Adam Remick is going to be doing a great job. I talk
He's
to him
been
daily.
with us for a long time.
He's been
He'll
with
do
us,
the
so
job.
it's great that we can hire within from people that have gained the experience, and there'll be other people moving up in other ranks, and I think we have one new hire that next Friday, not this Friday, that we're going to have a little thing at the police station. So I'm encouraged by people coming to Woonsocket.
Is the fire department looking to hire as well?
They are. They have an academy coming up, and there's some recruits. So we're understaffed in both departments, which is unfortunately we'll never get to full staff. But budget-wise, that helps us, right?
Yeah.
If we're budgeting for 104 and we got 98, we have that cushion, right, to use for overtime or whatever. So there's challenges, but I got a great staff. Both police and fire chiefs are both great. They're easy to work with. I don't tell them how to do their job. I just kind of give advice when I can, or guidance, and we work well together.
When they ask for it, right?
When I ask for it. So Chief Cahill, I got to tell you, is a big basketball guy like me. We're both
okay.
Carolina fans. We talk about basketball before we talk about the fire department, and then we get into the nitty gritty.
Well, things have been good here in Woonsocket. I mean, we'll knock on wood. We haven't had I don't want to bring it up. I'm going to jinx the whole thing.
Yeah, don't jinx it. You were going to talk about fires.
I was going to talk about fires. And
Right.
things have been okay.
Yeah.
There have been some big ones in other communities.
Yeah.
But
Fall River's been
We
getting
just
hit.
had one on 2nd Avenue, and there was one right after that on South Main Street, I believe, right?
I was going by the fire in Fall River on Saturday night, and you could barely get through 195 at that junction.
Yeah.
We were going to Tiverton out to eat, and the whole school, it's right off the highway, and it was bad.
They're knocking it down. They're demolishing
knocking
that
it
whole
down.
thing.
Yeah.
The one on South Main Street, I think, was a very good stop.
Yeah.
And even 2nd Avenue was. They got a little bit of ahead of them before the alarm was called out, but that was also a good stop. That's what the fire department calls when they get there, when they win one.
Yeah.
Because fires are going to happen, but when you minimize damage, that's a good stop.
Excellent. All right, Mayor. What other good things are going on in the city that you're proud
What
of?
other things are going on? Well, I did have a conversation yesterday with the person that owns the Armory on South Main Street.
Oh, that's
Okay.
And
interesting.
at one time,
Haven't
it
heard
was
that in a
going to be
while.
kind of an arts cultural
Sure.
center
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
owns one in Pawtucket.
Right.
So we're going to have a conversation next week to kind of bring that back into play and figure out what's going on there. And I learned yesterday, I didn't know this, you learn every day in this seat, that he is the owner of 20 Privilege Street where the fire was at the mill. So we're going to have some discussions about where that's going. And, the guy was very appreciative that I gave him a call. He didn't know who I was. He knew the former mayor. And so some of those things you try to, just develop that relationship and figure out what's going on. Because I drive by Privilege Street every day and you see the pile of bricks and the steel. And
Right.
I think there's some insurance litigation stuff still going on. So we'll try to get some answers for that in the coming next
That
time we
and being
come.
so close to a secondary drinking water supply, thus and so is big over there.
Yeah. And we will be moving forward, we hope, with some news on the public safety, new fire station for North Main Street we're going to replace, and then we're going to rebuild the police station because we don't have the money to make a full complex, public safety complex. So that's moving forward, and me and the fire chief are working diligently on that.
What are we going to just to do away with the North Main Street fire station?
So that fire station will be dismantled at one point.
It's been held together with timbers and
it
bricks
is,
for a long
and-
I
time.
thought it was Band-Aids.
We're going to
Yeah.
be talking to the diocese because the land right behind that from St. Charles Church, which is still dormant, but they occasionally have some masses there. We're going to talk to the diocese about possibly purchasing that land to kind of rebuild right there.
Sure.
So you still want to put the public safety complex off of Social Street?
No, because when
Okay.
we don't have the 40, 50 million. We
That's
only-
right.
All right.
It's
so
on the
we're-
wish
we're,
list.
We're going down in scale of what we want to do based
Gotcha.
on
Because I keep
money.
seeing the sign for sale
Yeah.
on what was the castle.
That's
Montreal.
still
I'm
for
like,
sale, but we are not going forward at Bully Fail.
Okay.
Although I did say, I think last time here, that we are entertaining a circus coming to Boulay Field.
You did, yeah.
The Milltown Circus, had some conversations with them this week. We're going to get some advertising out and some talking with Liz from Parks and Rec. And I think this is going to be a good thing for Woonsocket.
All right. This past week, Governor Dan McKee says he's running for re-election. I know you and Dan are pretty close. Will you be campaigning for him?
I will be if he asks me,
okay.
and I think he will. We've been friends for 35, 40 years, and, I don't agree with everything he does, and he doesn't agree with everything I do, but we respect each other, and he's been good to Woonsocket. He's always calling me and asking what Woonsocket needs, how can I help with either staff. We're going to the schools to talk about attendance matters on March 25th. He's coming to one of the middle schools. We're going to have parents there to ask questions.
That
So
program has really worked.
It's really, and yesterday when I went to the school, I said quickly, the attendance is up. It needs to come up more. And that was the first thing I said when I was in front of the kids. I'm so glad you're all here today because you can learn at home or out of school practices, but when you're in
here,
school is where you really learn. And if you're here, I applaud you, but you got to be here every day. So that message was said yesterday by me, and the teachers appreciate it because they are working hard to get the attendance up.
Sure. All right. Well, we've run out of time, so we have to say goodbye for right now. So, Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Always
Appreciate your
it
time.
with the good information, and hopefully next week, next month when you're here, we talk about the new supermarket and give us a name.
Awesome.
All right, Sue Tesser McKenzie, thanks for being here as well.
Thank you, and have a good rest of the week.
All right, and Dave Richards, thanks for coming in.
Great being here with good friends and the mayor.
All right, my name's Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your members at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
Former Woonsocket mayoral candidate Keith Harrison